call to a guy he's gotten to know a little bit in recent years, and that would be Ryan Bauer. You can check him out on Twitter at BauerPowerPlays. That's BAUER, BauerPowerPlays.
Take a picture?
He also writes a blog for rotogrinders.com, and Maurice has laid down the gauntlet. Don't suck if you'd like to come back in the future. That's just kind of how you are.
He knows what it is. What's up, bro?
Ryan, what's up?
How are you guys, man? First, I just want to, thank you guys for having me on today, and Sirius XM and Mike and Reese, I really appreciate it.
Well, let's be honest. Maurice didn't want to do it. I had to talk him into it, right?
He's a Jags fan, so I definitely had to give him a shout-out.
I was giving you a hard time.
My hands are sweating now.
Now, are you a Jacksonville-based Jags fan? How do you become a Jags fan?
Oh, it's a long story. I mean, I was 89, so I started getting into sports about 7 or 8 years old.
I thought he clicked.
Yeah, from Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, and those were just, a team I loved. They were good, and as a kid, you kind of go towards winners. The home base didn't really mean much to me at that time. And ever since then, it's been in a love-hate kind of relationship with the Jags.
All right. Look, I love it, Maurice. I love the fact that the guy got on pre-bandwagon, because the bandwagon's getting ready to fill up, baby. That's what's happening.
Knows that. He knows. He's and I'll tell you this much, Mike. Early in the year, me and this guy, we always go back and forth, and he's been a Bortles fanatic, and he's especially in fantasy. So, Ryan, let's just get right into it. Tell us about your quarterbacks you have that's play in your daily in the daily leagues.
Okay, I've been here, listening to you guys' show earlier today. Everyone is on Brian Hoyer. I mean, it's an obvious play. Saints are, surrendering the most fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. So we won't even touch on him. Another play I love is Russell Wilson this week. He threw 3 TDs last week, had 3 straight games of 30 rushing yards. And really, the Steelers rank in the bottom half of the league in defending the pass, and I've given up. I think it's 4th or 5th most passing yards in the league this year. And that's as far as like a cash game play, more your 50-50s, double-ups, or head-to-head.
Okay.
And one of my tournament plays, sticking with that same game, is Ben Roethlisberger. A lot of guys love to fade quarterbacks going into Seattle. So it makes it a great tournament play. He'll be low-owned. Not a lot of people won't be on him, which, is what you want in a tournament. You want your low-owned guys to do great. He has 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. And Seattle only has had 4 interceptions this year. And I don't think Richard Sherman has even one. And another one I love is Josh McCown, Monday night, going against the decimated Ravens.
Yeah, I like McCown. I think McCown's one of the more obvious ones, but I like the fact that you're sticking your neck out on a couple of other guys that not many people are talking up this week. And, Ryan, as we know, a lot of times when you play DFS, you look at a stack and maybe pair your quarterback up with a receiver or a tight end or maybe multiple guys there. In this case, if you're doing that with Ben, are you paying up for Antonio Brown, or are you going a little bit more economical with Martavis Bryant? And is there a guy to pair with Russell Wilson?
I'm actually gonna keep it low, and I'm gonna go Martavis Bryant. He has back-to-back double-digit games. He's seen 7+ targets in his last 4 games, and Seahawks have been prone to give up the big play this year. Although Richard Sherman doesn't have that interception this year, he's still a great cover corner, and I see him shadowing Antonio Brown a little more over the field. I know now he doesn't just stay on that left side like he's normally done in the past. He moves around this year much more.
And who's going to pair with Russell Wilson?
I'm actually looking at Jimmy Graham. His price this week is honestly at an all-time low on all the DFS sites, and he has the potential to hit 3-4 times his value. And the Steelers have also allowed 8 touchdowns to opposing tight ends this year, so it's one of those stacks that can be a tournament play that could really pay off big, especially with how low priced Jimmy Graham is. His low price will still allow you to spend up at wide receiver and running back.
All right, we got Ryan Bauer here with us. He writes a blog at rotogrinders.com, taking a look at some of his DFS top plays for Week 12. Looking at the running backs this week, you look at, for instance, at FanDuel, there's a lot of guys priced in the same range, Ryan. A lot of these guys that had been backups now looking like they're going to get the opportunity to start, be it Tevin Coleman, Spencer Ware, Thomas Rawls, Tevin Coleman. We just went through Maurice's thoughts on him for this week. Is there a running back out of that group that stands out to you, or you think people are, too heavily invested in this range of running backs?
I think this range of running back is really kind of the sweet spot. It's going to let you pay up for those premium wide receivers. Yeah. I'm actually all in on Thomas Rawls. I love him this week. I think his ownership percentage in the cash games, a lot like last week with Shandarick West, owns 70, 80%. He's almost a must own, because if he goes off and you don't have him in your 50-50 double up or head to head, you most likely won't finish in the cash. But he'll be high owned enough to where if he doesn't, play up to par, he won't kill you. But in his 2 starts this year, he has 169 and 209 yards, rushing this year. And another range, in that range back that most people aren't talking about, is T.J. Yeldon. The Chargers allowing the most fantasy points to running backs. He averages 20 carries and targets per game. And Jacksonville's actually favored by 4.5 points. So the game script and game flow is kind of in Jacksonville's favor to potentially have a lead and be running the ball more and more. And as we know, he's one of the only cowbell backs like an Adrian Peterson that gets, 90% of the carries every Sunday.
Right.
What guys do you think are you thinking about just in a regular game, not necessarily for the price, but like a high price guy that you would spend that price on for the running backs?
Some other running backs I love. I love, obviously, Adrian Peterson this week. I think Minnesota's going to Atlanta. Atlanta's given up a bunch of rushing yards this year to other running backs. So Adrian Peterson's one of them. And from my hometown, Doug Martin. This guy's been he's come back from the dead this year. Tampa Bay didn't want to give him a contract before the year started. All this guy's done has been, top 3, 4 fantasy running back week in, week out. Last year, last week, 230 yards.
Oh, yeah, he definitely made some plays. What are some guys that you have to have in your lineup in every position? So just give us
regardless of the price. Yeah,
regardless of the price.
Regardless
2 guys.
Of the price.
Yeah.
So like quarterback, we'll go Brian Hoyer. A running back we haven't talked on, and price is great. I know you don't want that, but Chris Ivory, I love him this week. Dolphins are allowing 140 yards per game. Then a wide receiver, I love DeAndre Hopkins.
How can you not?
Right.
Love Eric Decker, double-digit points in every game this year. And then tight end, we can look at Jordan Reed. Giants giving up the most receiving yards to opposing tight end. And then this week, a defense that I don't think anyone's talking about in the entire NFL is Kansas City. Double-digit fantasy points in 4 straight games.
Defense, Casey. I'm making notes. I got all these guys written down here, Maurice. I am. We're going to hold you to a high standard, man.
We got to hold you to a high standard. Now, early in the week, you tweet out. What day do you usually tweet out your BauerPowerPlays?
So I'll tweet them out on Thursday night, normally right around 6 o'clock Eastern time. Give you some plays if you want to play the Thursday through Monday fantasy games, and then if you follow me on Twitter at BauerPowerPlays, I will update my blog, or I'll tweet out some more plays as which guys become active, inactive, questionable, and things like that. So I'll tweet out Sunday morning before the games start, some additional plays or guys that I initially liked, but now are, maybe a cornerback's playing. Maybe Darrell Reeves is playing, now I'm going to kind of make a U-turn and go away from that guy.
Well, tell me about this. Is the last one for me, Ryan. Tell me about Jarvis Landry right now. You don't like him, even though Reeves is out.
Well, Jarvis Landry, I don't think he practiced today. If he plays on Sunday, he's one of those must play plays as well. I didn't put him in the plays this week just because he hasn't practiced all week and he's been questionable. But he's right there. I think before last week, he had double-digit fantasy points in basically almost every single game in PPR. And last week he was held in check, so it was really like, he'll come back to he'll regress back to the mean this week and get you double-digit points. So if he plays, I love him.
Yeah, Miami said that they expect him to suit up. They're pretty confident he will.
Mike,
suit up.
one last thing. One last thing. Ryan, tell us about your Friday because you told me something on, we always talk online and everything, but you said something about if a guy doesn't play Friday, what?
Oh, you don't expect him to play on Sunday. Some guy last week on Twitter went at me a little bit and said, Marshawn never practices and always plays. I said, there's always exceptions to the rule, but with the rule of thumb being if a guy's questionable and doesn't practice Friday, don't count for him to play on Sunday. And I think a lot of people last week expected Marshawn Lynch and Michael Floyd to play last week. And I told them, hey, those later games, those guys don't play. You're really strapped with the waiver wire and being able to even potentially pick up a guy if there's anyone even available in your league. But if a guy doesn't practice Friday, not a good sign for Sunday.
All right, we are going to gauge your success in part by how many Twitter followers you pick up this week as well. Maybe we should gauge our own success on that, Maurice. You need to tweet them out a couple of times.
I always tweet. I always retweet and give them shouts out and make sure the BauerPowerPlays hit my followers, and so people can definitely follow Ryan and get him going and get him up. He sounds like you know what he's doing, huh, Mike?
He sounds like he's presented a reasonable case. He could be that insane attorney that sounds reasonable in the courtroom, and then you're like, wait a minute, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm kidding with you, Ryan. You does sound like he knows what he's talking about. He put a lot of thought into it, and that's the way we roll here. We're going to give you a hard time. We're going to break your chops.
I expect nothing less.
All right, so here are the guys I have. Tell me if I've missed anybody, all right? Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, obviously Hoyer, everyone's on Hoyer, and Josh McCown at quarterback. Yep. Thomas Rawls, TJ Yeldon, AP, Doug Martin, and Chris Ivory at running back. Martavis Bryant, DeAndre Hopkins, Eric Decker among the wide receivers, Jordan Reed, and the Kansas City defense. There's some guys to watch out for. And you don't have to hit a home run on all of them, but we'll see how you do, man. We appreciate the time and always looking for new voices and new thoughts out there. We encourage folks to check out your blog at rotogrinders.com. Rotogrinders have a show on this very network, as a matter of fact, and give them a follow on Twitter and see if the Bauer Power Plays come to pass. BAUER is how you spell Bauer, and then Power Plays follows that at Bauer Power Plays on Twitter. Ryan, we appreciate it. Good luck to your Jacksonville Jaguars. That's one thing I think the three of us can all agree on.
Hey, there's mathematically only one game back, still in the playoff.
Hey, brother, you're telling me
I've been used to still being able to root in week 12 recently.
I'm not even going to mention to Maurice that Bortles' winning percentage is now higher than Derek Carr's in their careers. I'm not even going to mention that.
And I love that because I'm a UCF graduate, so it's a double dip on seeing him succeed in Jacksonville.
Double whammy for you. Ryan,
exactly.
we appreciate the insight, man. Thanks for the time tonight. We'll look forward to doing it again, okay?
All right,
hey,
man.
Thanks again, guys. Have a good night. Happy
There
holidays.
he goes. Ryan Bauer, rotogrinders.com, at Bauer Power Plays, BAUER for Bauer. So
I might need to turn into a scout, Mike.
You might. I thought that was
my
pretty
guy
good.
held it down. He did a good job.
I'll be honest with you. With this last week, you're like, I got this guy too raw for Xbox Live.
Hey, that's my guy. That's where I've met him, though. That's where I meet most of my friends. I'm not going to lie to you.
I granted, but, I could kind of see Phil and I long distance looking at each other, like shrugging our shoulders, like, all right, his name's on the show. We'll throw the Xbox Live guy on there. But I thought he did a terrific job, and we'll see how his plays pan out this week.
Yeah, you know what? I feel we need to give young people an opportunity. And this was a great opportunity. I thought he regardless of, granted, guys have to play well, but I thought he showed he had a lot of insight. He said some great stats. He talked about fantasy along with some other things. And he gave a defense that no one has really talked about in fantasy, the Chiefs.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Good stuff. Some good statistics to back it up. And I do like, because, anybody could tell you Brian Hoyer. As you said, let's forget about Brian Hoyer. Everybody's on Hoyer, and it's understandable why they are. But I like the fact that he went to Russell Wilson.
I didn't think of Russell Wilson. I'm not going to lie to you.
And I'm going to throw Jimmy Graham on there, too, because I'm skeptical about that play. But I do like, and I agree with him about Roethlisberger against Seattle, and I agree with him about Martavis Bryant, not just because he got the karma for coming on tonight, but for the same reasons. Sherman, if he's going to shadow anybody, it's going to be Antonio, and they've given up big plays in that secondary. So I like it on its surface. Let's see how it pans out. There you go, the Bauer Power Plays for Week 12. We'll come back. We'll take your calls. How about that for a power play? All you got to do is dial 888-XM Fantasy, get on the program, and you'll be running with MJD on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
You're running with MJD.